Why am I saying, and why this slide is important to me? Simply because of the pandemic itself, the strength of any country is not only in a way calculated by the strength of its economy, but also by the strength of its healthcare system. And on both of the fronts, we actually managed to show how resilient our economy is and how capable we were to cope with the pandemic. Which led us into this information for you, the real GDP growth in 2020. So the worst possible year for any economy, the biggest economic crisis ever. And Ireland itself, unfortunately, cannot compare to Serbia because of the specifics of its GDP that relate more to the IT companies from abroad. But if you look at Lithuania, Norway, Serbia, so among top 4 or 5 countries in the world, we had -1% of the decline of our GDP, thanks to the stimulus packages that I mentioned on the previous slide. And basically that enabled us to show that our economy is not only resilient, but that the government itself did the right job to save the economy as such. Look at the other countries, more developed, look at their decline, and then look at Serbia, and you see that we actually have managed to do a really good job. In addition to that, so in addition to the GDP decline last year, we also managed to keep the public debt under control, irrespective of the 6 billion euros. So when out of 8 billion euros of stimulus packages, 6 was last year, 2 are planned for this year. So again, if you look at 2019, 2020, we were on the steady path of decreasing the ratio between the public debt and GDP. Until 2019, we were at 52%. We did increase it to 57%, but even with the new stimulus package for this year, by the end of this year, our public debt to GDP will not pass the Maastricht level of 60%. So we are supporting our economy, we are heavily investing in our healthcare, but still, in spite of all those efforts, we do maintain the fiscal and macroeconomic stability. And look at, for example, this slide. From 2008 to 2012, the previous government was not managing properly the whole economy. And as I told you yesterday, we were in a big trouble 2012, 2013, almost at the brink of bankruptcy. And then we initiated the reforms. And then look at the steady decrease in the unemployment rate, almost amazing, from 24% to 9% last year, and also compare 2019, 2020. So irrespective of the biggest economic crisis last year and the COVID-19 pandemic, our unemployment rate is lower in 2020 than 2019. That shows you how resilient the economy has become, and also how well-targeted our measures were in terms of the supporting our businesses. What's very important for you to know, because I hope, and whatever we are doing right now, we hope that you're gonna invest more and more of your money into Serbia, that in the last 3 years, relative to the size of its economy, we will rank twice as #1 and once as #2 by the Financial Times in terms of the attracting foreign direct investments. That tells you enough about the stability, about the attractiveness of the company, of the country. I apologize. It talks a lot about the good taxation system, the subsidies and the support that you are getting from the government, but also the trust that we managed to build with the investors. So it's not a coincidence that the unemployment rate is going down year by year, because just look at the FDIs and look at the successes that we managed to get there that were acknowledged by the Financial Times. And why is all this important? Because that policy we have managed to maintain in 2021. So 5.6% of our GDP is there for capital investments only. As President Vučić said, we're going to have 8 new highways under the construction by the end of this year. I am not sure that you're going to find a single country in Europe, at least, which is investing so much into its basic infrastructure in 2021. So I would say in the still one of the worst economic years ever. Healthcare-related investments ongoing. As I told you already, we built 2 new COVID hospitals, and the third one, we're going to have the groundbreaking ceremony in the next 14 days as well. So we are heavily investing in healthcare, trying to actually improve those kind of services to the Serbian citizens, but also trying to show how strong we are and how capable we are to cope with any crisis. And the last bullet point is important to me because you will not find that many countries that, in addition to enormous capital expenditures, also invested in increase in pensions, increase in salaries, increase in minimum wages. That's exactly what we did in the budget for 2021. So the pensions increased by 5.9%, the minimum wage by 6.6%, and the wages in the public sector by 5%, or in real terms. So basically, our budget managed to withhold all those investments, still maintaining the macroeconomic stability. One important slide for you as well, in spite of the crisis, in spite of the pandemic COVID-19, as you can see, the exchange rate remained stable, monetary policy remained very effective, and also the inflation rate. Just look at the figures. In 2011, for example, we had a double-digit inflation rate, and then steadily but surely we managed to bring it down to 1.1, 1.5%, which is even lower than the European Union average. Why am I saying this? Because I think it's very important that if you decide to invest in one country, you know that both fiscal and monetary policy are working together, maintaining the necessary stability and giving the credibility to, of course, investing your money in our country. That progress, everything that we have managed to do, has been recognized by the rating agencies, and I would just draw your attention to Moody's, because last month we actually got an upgrade from them, even and irrespective of COVID-19, irrespective of the worst economic crisis ever. Serbia has managed to receive a credit upgrade. We are one notch below the investment grade. But 2013, 2014, we pretty much started from scratch, actually from zero. And huge improvement in that area. So it's not only that Siniša, myself, or President Vučić is talking about the success in our economy. It's actually has been recognized by the credit rating agencies. Now, just to finish with a couple of more slides, and why I think this topic is very important. Again, I'll come back to what I said at the beginning. The strength of one economy or one country in the last year has not been only decided upon by the strength of your GDP growth rate or strength of your public debt to GDP, but also by the strength of your healthcare system. And just look at this slide. When I say fully vaccinated, I talk about the revaccination, so basically number of people who got the second vaccine. Serbia, per 1 million citizens, is #1 in Europe. Small Serbia, maybe less developed than most of the countries or more countries in the European Union specifically, is #1 when it comes to the full vaccination. These are the figures from yesterday. In terms of the world numbers, we are there. We are #6, right? So in the world, we have managed to show how capable we are in terms of coping with the worst pandemic that has ever happened in the world. And why, again, is this important and relevant to you? Well, my dear friends, if you decide to invest in Serbia, I think it's very important that you have a government who is capable of dealing with crisis and dealing with crisis in a proper manner. If you look at vaccination only, we are #4 in Europe, and we are among top 10 countries in the world. Bahrein is, somewhere either above or below us, but we are pretty much there. And looking at Serbia, we are very, very proud as to what we managed to achieve in terms of the vaccination, in terms of the health care for our citizens. And again, bearing in mind the situation all of the countries are currently in, I think that this shows you a lot of the credibility and responsibility of the Serbian government. And I'll finish with Serbia 2025. So we maintain the macroeconomic stability, close to full employment, and we managed to secure all of the production facilities, still maintaining the macroeconomic stability and public debt under control. But what's even more important, we had a plan that a year and a half ago our president presented to the Serbian citizens, Serbia 2025, additional 14 billion euros in basic infrastructure. Each and every investment is currently underway, irrespective of the pandemic related to COVID-19. And we are building highways, we are building and reconstructing railway system, we are building industrial parks, we are investing in environmental protection facilities. And from that perspective, I think we are on the right path to really finalize all of the basic infrastructural projects by the end of 2025, thus making Serbia even more attractive for foreign investors and for people like you. And we are diligent, we are taking care of each and every dinar, and we are making sure that we are on the right path from that perspective. I would like, at the end, to use the opportunity to thank the Kingdom of Bahrain for all of the support and donations that they have managed to secure for the citizens of the Republic of Serbia. Thank you very much for that. I would also like to thank you for your attention. And what are the next steps? Just for you guys who are here, the representatives of the companies, and also for our dear guests. What we plan to do, we plan in a very short period of time to agree on the agreement related to the avoidance of the double taxation between Serbia and the Kingdom of Bahrain. We are also looking at the agreement related to the promotion and the protection of mutual investments in both countries. And we are also looking at the agreement, I would call it the cooperation agreement or intergovernmental agreement between the Kingdom of Bahrain and Serbia regarding the strategic alliance, and something similar that we did with the United Arab Emirates. I think that will give both sides more confidence, that will, in a way, at least from the legal perspective, give us a path to which or on which we're going to be able to walk in years to come. And I hope that this presentation, as well as the discussions that we had yesterday, that we're going to have today and tomorrow also, my dear guests, will enable you to make your positive decision to come back again and to invest in Serbia. And of course, I invite all of the representatives of the Serbian companies here to present themselves in a proper manner. I think I'm free to say that the market of Bahrain is open to us. We are among friends, and they are among friends. And I just hope that you guys and you ladies will be able to use this opportunity in a proper way. Thank you very, very much for your attention, and I'm going to remain here with you to answer any of the questions that you may have. Thank you very much.